This episode is sponsored by Shutterstock.com. With over 20 million high-quality stock photos, illustrations, vectors, and video clips, Shutterstock helps you take your creative projects to the next level. For 30% off your new account, go to Shutterstock.com and use offer code GAMEBREAKER6. This episode is also brought to you by Audible. For a free 30-day trial and to receive a free audiobook, just head on over to audible.com/Gamebreaker.
Gamebreaker TV.
Hello, everybody, and I'm John Oliver, and you're watching The Daily Show. No, not really. I am Mike Shavnik. Gary is... I guess it doesn't matter, because this is my show anyway, so never mind. I'll save that joke for the rest of the week. I'm Mike Shavnik, your host for After Dark. Tonight is Wednesday, 5:20. If you can't tell, we're at a different time, different place. A little bit of the shifting of the schedules this week. Stay tuned to social media. You'll find out when your favorite shows are going to be playing. But, as I said, this is After Dark, the show where everybody calls in live, and we answer your questions right here on the spot. Since Gary is out of town, I asked the wonderful, the amazing, the talented Pat Crane to come over here and join us on tonight's show. Pat, how you doing?
Hello. I don't know if I can live up to that intro, though.
Dude, it was...
we'll see.
I gotta keep that... I gotta see what I can do to keep that joke running all week. I blew it prematurely. I forgot this was my show.
That's all right. Maybe I should say it. I'm John Oliver, and
there you go.
There you go.
All right. Well, you know, let's just kick this off, get this going, and
sure.
get you introduced to some live viewer video questions. I don't know how I was gonna say that.
First time for me. So be careful. I mean, be nice.
You do know what this show's. You do know what this show's about, right? This show's about yellow dresses, cheesecake,
Starburst.
That's about it. Well, no, that's legendary. Corona and Starburst is legendary.
Yeah.
That's about it. That's about all we talk about. So if you can hang with dresses and cheesecake, you're good.
All right, I can do that.
All right. Let's open up the lines and see how this goes. Caller, you're on the line with Gamebreaker After Dark. Tell us your name. Tell us where you're from. Tell us your question.
Hey, I'm Jeremy, aka Squishy from Ontario, Canada.
Squishy, the guy that I completely got confused with Trekkie on last week's Legendary. How does it feel to be a world first raider, Squishy? For maybe half a second.
Important.
It is. How you doing?
It is.
Pretty good.
Good.
Pat, do you like cheesecake?
I like cheesecake a lot better than Shaft does. That's for sure.
That's not a yes or no. Quit dodging the question. We're gonna rephrase that.
I don't eat it all the time, but I do enjoy a nice cheesecake from time to time. How's that? Is that better? I don't know.
Still dodging the question, sir.
Yes. I'll shorten it even more.
Drat,
yes.
I should have taken the answer that was
cheesecake.
more on my side.
I will eat it. I will eat it every night if I had the chance, just to prove Shaft wrong about cheesecake.
Oh.
That's it. How's that?
Squishy, what you got for us?
So the LCS and WCS have become very popular in the eSports scene. Do you think we could see a third game join them? And if so, what?
Esports, man. You know what's? I don't. Go ahead.
This
Pat.
is out of my realm. I'm just letting you know that. I'm not much on the esports scene. I try to be, but I tell you, man, it's not really my thing, my bag, baby. But
Squishy, and I'm not familiar with the two that are currently in there. So it's obviously StarCraft. What's the second one?
Yeah,
League.
Okay, that's what I thought. So out of the games that we have available, honestly, I know it's strange to say, and I don't think Josh would necessarily agree with me. He was a little hard on the game back when he was a part of the show. I see Smite doing a lot of steps to try and step into the esports scenes. They're doing a lot of promoting, they're trying to have a lot of presence, and I see a real community and an undercurrent of fans that are building around Smite. Now, I don't necessarily know if it has the fandom to step into that world to compete with something like StarCraft or League, but I think Smite's one of those contenders. Once Dota gets its official release, I think we'll probably see more out of Dota. Those are obviously the big contenders, which are the ones I'm familiar with. Now, Squishy, obviously, this is your question. Do you have one kind of in mind that you think would be a good contender to step into that circuit?
Not really, to be honest.
Do you think that there's one that's necessary?
I don't think so.
Perfectly fine with it just being 2 games.
Well, I really enjoy the LC of the League one. StarCraft, I'm kind of I watch it every so often, but I'm not like hardcore following it, and I don't know like if there's this open for a third, but I don't think it's necessary to have that right now.
I mean, here's the thing that I think with esports in general is all you need for it to be a competitive esport is enough fans to rally behind it. WoW is really tough, I think, to make an esport, but I think there are plenty of people out there that want to see it be an esport. Like I said, Smite's this community that's building and growing into something that I think in a few years will really have a good amount of following. I think it just takes, and I think the other problem is and not picking even on just you, Squishy. I think in general, a lot of people, I personally know you play a good amount of League of Legends, correct?
Correct.
And probably not so much a lot of StarCraft.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I think that you don't care so much about the StarCraft esports scene at all, and potentially any of these other games that could rise into esports, and that goes, I think, for everyone, especially, and this is something I'm even starting to realize, especially when it comes to the online PC world, when it takes a high level of commitment and skill, players lock into a single game and they put on blinders to everything else, and they don't necessarily consider what could be other great esports. And I think that's the big problem here is for Smite, which is rising. A lot of people that are very esports centric are really focusing on League and StarCraft, and I feel like that's it. And that's going to be the biggest hurdle that other games have to overcome in order to come into the scene. Pat, do you have any thoughts?
Well, it's always kind of one of those things of you gotta, both LOL and StarCraft are both just so huge. I don't know what it would take to break through the clutter, really. And that's kind of always one of the concerns when you think about esports. And Blizzard has talked about whether or not World of Warcraft, anything World of Warcraft could actually become an esport, and they're like, I don't think so. Number one, we don't have the systems in place to do it, and number two, I just don't know if there's that much of a need for it. So it's how do you rise above the clutter and get to that next level of interest for an esport.
Now, chat rooms, obviously, they're talking about a lot of other games, PlanetSide, Tribes, Worms.
Right.
I think those are the main ones that I'm looking at right now. I mean,
it's that World of Tanks.
I mean, and that's honestly, I World of Tanks would be incredibly slow, but I think that the thing we have to remember about esports is, I think everybody would say that everybody wants to see an esport for their game. That's why it's their game. They enjoy it. They like watching competitive plays to see it get better. But I think that as we know esports, it definitely has to have this level of observancy that's easy to break a certain barrier. League of Legends and StarCraft are great examples because of this ability to stay top down and watch an entire match from all perspectives. Yep. I can see what purple team is doing on one side, and I can see what blue team is doing on the other, and I can foreshadow, certain conflicts that may come to fruition based on seeing both maps. Yep. I'm not aware of actually like Tribes or I guess Worms technically kind of has this all observancy kind of view, but I think that's pivotal. That to make a good esport, a good way to observe a match objectively, not just subjectively from one team, is critical.
Well, yeah, and top down, I think you nailed it with that one. Top down, I think it definitely needs to have that aspect to it, because you have to be able to. I mean, if you're running a first-person shooter or something like that, and you're like all over the place, you don't know what's going on. You can't tell what is what on the screen, so it becomes a lot more difficult to be able to shoutcast it or know what's going on, so that you can actually figure it out. So
yeah, and I mean, even if shooters have like, okay, I can go free, and I think this is maybe even kind of something with World of Warcraft. You can give me the ability to snap out a camera and go free roaming and look wherever I want. I think it might work for arena matches because you could effectively see what's going on at all point in times. But I was just watching some videos for Counter-Strike, for example, and I'll consider that. Yes, that makes that's a part of MLG, and I don't know if it still is or not, but obviously that's a very competitive first-person shooter. I think where the difficulties and where that is an esport is versus where League is in the ability of, even though I can be this flyable, detached camera and look around the game, I can't see everything at once. If I got to see someone who's coming around a corner, I've got to move my camera over there to see them coming, and by then the play might have already happened and it's too late. I think that's what we see with why StarCraft and League and Dota and top-down games work so well, is because of the high level of strategy and the high ability to observe everything that's going on at once.
Right. The only part of World of Warcraft, by the way, that I ever thought was actually, and this is not an esport, by the way, but this was just the only thing that I thought was really extremely watchable for me, where I could kind of tell what was going on, was when I was watching Lore do his broadcast. That was amazing stuff, because it was just, he could place the camera wherever he wanted to and just observe the entire fight. And I thought that was really cool that he was able to do all of that with any aspect of the game and have like an observer mode kind of almost in the game. So, I mean, that was the only time when I was like, yes! I mean, raids are cool to watch, but you get perspective, so, you can't move around too much.
Completely agree. Squishy, thank you so much for your question. I'm sorry we had to let you go so that we had someone else on the line, but we will open up the lines and take another caller. Caller, you're on the line with Gamebreaker After Dark. Tell us your name. Tell us where you're from. Tell us your question.
Hey, Mike. I'd like to welcome Pat Crane to the show.
Thank you very much.
Pat, could you, when you come into Cali, can you drop some cheesecake down in the office for Mike? Mike needs some.
Sure.
It'll be too late. It'll be too late. Even though we will be doing Legendary. He will be here for Legendary.
Yeah. I will be there for Legendary, and I'm going to bring an entire cheesecake, and I'm going to plant Mike's face right in it.
Pat, if you want that thing thrown at your face on air, I would advise against that.
I would
be great.
Pay money to do that.
Oh, all right.
But
what's up,
we'll
Zista?
get donations up. We'll get donations up. That'll be fun.
Real quick before my actual question, Pat, do you play a lot of Scrabble, words with friends stuff?
I don't do the apps with friends for the most part. I'm usually doing if I'm on an app or something like that, I'm usually doing like single player games or like some sort of mock MMO type of thing.
Because I sometimes when I play, I end up with too many vowels, and it seems like a consonant struggle.
Okay, I'm sorry for your
heard
predicament.
You like really bad puns, so I just
a consonant struggle.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that TV shows might be a better platform for video games rather than movies? Because I know the Halo TV show is coming out soon, and it's all the movies that we've had that have been really bad. Seems to me, because video games are mainly story driven, and 2 hours isn't a lot of time to tell a good story. But
it isn't.
TV, on the other hand, I think might be a better platform.
Well, and there have been some really great TV shows from well-known universes. I mean, Star Wars had an animated series, and you talk about all the. I mean, there's so much lore when it comes to video games that definitely you could do that type of thing. And I think you could do it pretty successfully. It's just a question of who do you focus on at that point. and how do you make this into a real world, and how do you expand on it and stuff like that. Yes, movies can get a little bit frustrating because you only have 2 hours to tell an entire arc of a story. So I think that, yeah, TV would be a great place to tell the story of video games. Sure.
I think movies also suffer from one issue is, they take the idea of a game or a brand of a game, and they decide that they need to reinvent the way that the game is portrayed. Silent Hill is a great example of a movie that embraces every amazing philosophy that the game is, influenced the game incredibly in a good direction in terms of its art and its design and what it looks like, but failed miserably, in my opinion, based on its trying to tell its own story, but use elements that the gamers liked. And I think that because, as you said, movies are such condensed versions, I think that they would be smarter to, if they were going to do that, why don't you make a movie that's based, don't try and retell the whole game. Maybe try and tell a piece of that game. A big video game film that a lot of people think is one of the best is Final Fantasy Advent Children. And I feel like that's because it was another, and they went overboard with Final Fantasy, don't get me wrong, but it was another piece of the puzzle for you to sit down, digest, and enjoy. And it didn't, you were already attached to all those characters. You didn't have to tell me who Cloud was and show me why he was emo and why I am absolutely in love with Tifa, because I already did all that stuff. I already embraced these characters. They already built me and attached me to the universe. Now you just have to tell me another engaging story about it. And I think that's part of the problem that movies suffer. First off, TV series obviously are definitely a lot better for that. As you mentioned, they have a lot more time through multiple seasons, multiple episodes to really expand and give you character development that you don't really have time for in movies. Obviously, as you said, the Halo TV series is a very interesting step and could be a very big step in the right direction for video games. But here's a question I want to pose to you, Zista. And this is something I just talked about with some coworkers of mine today when we were talking about The Last of Us. Mm-hmm. We might hit a certain breaking point here where the people who want, and I'm not saying movies are going away, but I think we're going to start to see video games as they become next gen and more realistic really rival the storytelling that we're seeing in movies. And that's going to become a massive direction for storytellers because of the innate ability to immerse yourself in a story. Do you think that we could see a shift that way at all, Zista, of seeing much greater interesting stories coming to video games?
I think it's already kind of been done. You look at the Uncharted franchise, Naughty Dog in general, they've pretty much gone in that direction. Like, instead of making a movie, an interactive movie. That's basically what they've created, and all their series seem to be doing that. And that seems to be the new trend. And not just Naughty Dog, but there are other companies. Metal Gear Solid is it's another one heading in that direction. I'm really excited for that game too. But have you seen the Mortal Kombat web series? What is it? Mortal Kombat Origins?
Legacy. It's called Legacy.
That was incredible, and second season is supposed to be starting soon. They start doing more stuff like that. That'll be a new standard right there.
That's really tough, though, because Mortal Kombat Legacy started as this one guy's pitch project. It started out as he made a trailer for Mortal Kombat Legacy, and he sold it so well. He put it up on YouTube, and it got instant recognition, and almost overnight, WB Studios was like, this needs to happen. This needs to be made. And they jumped on it, and the first season was just absolutely incredibly exciting. Everybody loved the season 1 of Mortal Kombat Legacy, but that couldn't have been if it wasn't for someone's passion project to begin with. That would have never happened. The filmmaking, like, you wouldn't have been able to go to I don't think Legendary Pictures does the Mortal Kombat franchise, but that's just who I'm going to reference. You couldn't go to those studios.
The first 2 films flopped.
Exactly, and I think that the big studios look at where we're at in with video game movies, and it's very bad at the box office, but it's working in the online video world. Look at and then we have additionally we have original series like Freddie Wong's Video Game High School. Stuff like that I think is great. And it's going to take some time, but right now I think its place is on the web, and that's just because that's where its viewership and demographic thrives at its best.
Well, Mike, what do you think about
Steven Spielberg? Do you think the TV series might gain the recognition now, and it might kind of mix things up for that?
If you can get a good producer behind it, sure. I mean, that could
Halo.
Right, and that could mean something to the industry, or that the industry at least pays attention to it a little bit more, and that could be a good thing as well. And you know, I saw the chat room talking about Defiance earlier as well, and that's another interesting project where they released the video game and a TV show all in one fell swoop, and it seems to be going okay. There are some mixed reviews about it, but I mean, you know, it's kind of, you got to go with these, and I'm going to say gimmicks, but it's more than that. I mean, they're doing the release of both a series and a video game at the same time. That's an incredible feat, and Spielberg coming in, that's an incredible feat as well. So I mean, that's all. Those are all good things that are kind of coming along. So we'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I believe Payday was doing something with that too. Wasn't there a tie-in with that franchise as well, with some kind of TV movie or something like that?
I don't know.
Not sure. I'm not even sure of that title actually. It's gonna be
Shoots the guys with the clown masks, robbing banks and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure it was a tie-in for a TV series as well, maybe a web series. I'm not sure.
Interesting.
There's a lot going on. That's all I know.
God,
there's a ton of stuff.
This new media
right
world.
now.
This new media world is just crazy.
It's crazy, I tell you.
Zista, unfortunately, I think we're gonna have to move on. But thank you so much for your call and your question.
No problem.
Hopefully you'll call back again. Always great talking to you.
You too.
All right, man. Talk to you in a minute. All right. So while we get someone new on the line, real quick, let's take a Twitter question. But first, I want to take this time to actually thank one of our sponsors. That's right. Where are we at? Right here. I got it right. Audible. Guys,
Hey.
Audible.com is an amazing, amazing service that's going to give you access to audiobooks. And if you guys sign up right now for free 30 days, you guys can head on over, get a free 30-day trial, and get a free audiobook if you guys use the promo code Gamebreaker. So head on over to audible.com/Gamebreaker. If you guys haven't checked this service out yet, it's amazing. Just talking about how much crazy world we live in with all this new media, when do you have time to sit down and read a book? The answer is you don't. So you have someone else read it to you while you're doing work. It's really, really simple. And they've got amazing, amazing things. Pat, I think you're a big World of Warcraft fan. We've got a lot of stuff that's going on with Orgrimmar right now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
This whole expansion has been building towards something. But how did it all get started? Well, if you guys head on over to audible.com and check out, they've actually got the Tides of War.
Great. Tides of War, that's a good one. I like that one. I like that audiobook a lot. It's great.
It does such a great job of tying in, Jaina Proudmoore's story and how the spark of this war affected her life, and how it's kind of changed the way that she's been acting throughout this whole entire expansion. So this is available, as well as I think there's 2 other awesome World of Warcraft books. There's Storm Rage and Wolfheart, all available for download right now if you guys head on over to audible.com. So if you guys are a World of Warcraft fan, or if you guys are a fantasy fan, they've got a whole bunch of Lord of the Rings. It's a great service. You guys need to check it out. And at the very least, you help support Gamebreaker and keep us up and running. So please, please, please go check out Audible. It's an amazing service. Now, before we get back to the viewer video questions, real quick, JL, also known as Total Deletion, asked us, speaking of Orgrimmar, with so much happening in the Siege of Orgrimmar, do you think this will end with a crippled horde? Will we kill Garrosh? That's. I think at this point, Garrus is gone. Garrus is gone. There's no way we're not going to kill him. Do you think?
Well, he is set to be the last boss of the expansion. So it's kind of one of those things. We're definitely going to be fighting him, and if we don't kill him, we're going to probably blow Orgrimmar, just up. I think that we're going to tear up Orgrimmar, and I don't know exactly what's going to happen there, but I'm kind of looking forward to it. But yeah, Garrosh is set to be the last boss of Siege of Orgrimmar.
It is going to be exciting. Here's the thing that I was reading up. I was looking for the Rise of the Legion screenshot, and I came across. I think it was an MMO champion post, or it was a post somewhere that brought up a really interesting thought. What if, in big uprisings such as this, when you're dethroning someone, there's always that chance that someone's going to break off and decide that this was wrong or this was right, or they don't agree with what it is. What if this starts a brand new third faction? Do you think a third faction could result out of this?
I don't think it will, because one of the problems with that is that his head general is also one of the encounters, Nazgrim, and so you have his right hand man going first, and then I think it's like a few encounters later you have Garrosh, and so it's one of those things. You're getting rid of the guy that is probably his most loyal subject, and Missy would definitely know more about this than I do. Missy is incredibly awesome when it comes to lore. I suck at it. That's fine. But I really do think that we are not going to be seeing another faction split off. So.
All right, well, I'll have to bring that up with Missy on Conspiracy Craft.
Yeah,
which is an awesome World of Warcraft show that is all about the lore and the conspiracy of what we can expect from World of Warcraft. So maybe I'll bring that up with her tomorrow, I think at 6. No, wait, that's tonight. That's tonight at 7. So be sure to hang out. Tune in. We'll have that conversation later on tonight. And if not, catch that video on demand right here on Gamebreaker TV. All right, let's open up the lines. Keep the show moving. Caller, you're on the line with Gamebreaker After Dark. Tell us your name. Tell us where you're from. Tell us your question.
Hi. My name is Miguel Pascual. I'm from Portugal.
How are you going? How are you going?
I'm doing well. It's actually dark here. I saw the chat room.
It's always after dark somewhere, so we're good. We're good.
Yeah, it's good here. So I was wondering if Gamebreaker will cover Blade and Soul, and what's your thoughts about that game, and if it will be succeed enough in the web market to NCSoft keep it up. I'm really hyped about that game.
Gosh, Blade and Soul. Okay, here's the thing. Will we cover it? Almost absolutely. I can't promise 100%, but it's one of those MMOs that there's going to be attention around once we have more news to report on, and we have, especially we have writers who are excited about it. I can promise you that there will be news about that game. So yes, to the first part of that question. Now, Pat, just before we go any farther, are you actually familiar with Blade and Soul at all?
I am not. I'm not.
It is. Let's see if I can pull it up here real quick. It's an anime lover's dream for an MMO.
Oh, really? Cool.
Oh gosh, yes. Let's see here. Official trailer is 11 minutes long. I won't play the whole thing, but that's a full screen. Did not mean to do that. I just wanted a large.
That
video.
is a full screen. Look out!
So here, we'll just skip ahead here while we talk about it. But it's by NCSoft, and correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it was Miguel. Those are the people that did what was Dragon Nest, Vindictus, correct? Same company?
Not Dragon Nest. It's by Identity, I think. I think is that the name.
But that was still all under NCSoft, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or am I completely off base here?
I'm not sure about the Eastern market, but here I don't think so. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Honestly,
sure.
this was one of those. I remember the moment I saw the trailer for this game. It looks really fast and exciting. It looks like a very awesome kind of beat 'em up, fighter-esque MMO, and I think that's where a lot of people get excited for the combat that's going to come in this game,
Right.
and that's what it's going to heavily rely on. My big concern, though, and again, I haven't seen any more than just trailers. Combat can't make or break your game. It truly can't. Because here's the thing. People can call me crazy. I didn't hate Terra's combat. I actually thought it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the way that it played. It just got really monotonous and grindy. And so a lot of people got bored with it and put it down. If we can...
Terra combat, it was fine for me. I think what I really missed there, it was a dodge system. They don't have that. Gotcha.
Now, do you actually know at all how this system is going to be integrated? It can't be tab targeting at all. This looks like it's kind of fixed animations almost.
Not. I still don't know yet. I've seen movies of gameplay in YouTube.
Oh, I guess that puts my right here. The video we're looking at puts my fears to rest of fixed animation. He was running and shooting. So I don't know. Like Pat, this is the first time that you're seeing this kind of gameplay. This is truly what makes this game exciting. Is the way this combat looks.
Right. Yeah, and it looks really fast. It looks. I mean, the animation's great. The art is just fantastic. So I mean, if you can combine both art with and the lore of it with gameplay, that's amazing. So it could be a contender, that's for sure.
Now, what do you think? I mean, there have been so many games from the Eastern market that have come over here to the Western market. And real quick, I just saw in chat, it wasn't NCSoft, it was Nexon that did Vindictus and all that. So my apologies there for getting that wrong. What do you think has really contributed to the lack of adaptation from the Western market of the Eastern games?
Geez, I'm just trying to figure out what you're actually saying here. Are you saying that the West is not picking up those Eastern games at all? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, yeah, we've seen the Western market really tough to adapt, and I think honestly, I think it's a very tough time in general for any audience to adapt. We are so inundated right now with variety of MMOs, not only from our own market and culture, but also from a different market. It's a tough time to be an MMO right now.
I think if you're gonna do this type of thing, that it really matters that you stick to your guns on a particular design, and these guys are definitely going for the anime market, and there's a huge market for that in the States. I mean, really, there's a big market for anime. There's a big market for a lot of I think that type of gameplay as well, where it's just really tight, where you're really going head to head with other mobs and other players and stuff. That could be pretty cool. So everything that I saw looked fantastic. It looked like there would be a market for it here.
All right, real quick while we try and get another caller on the line, let's go over to Twitter. Tom Brinkman asks, can you explain the continuing rise of EVE compared to the rise and fall of basically every other MMO? This is kind of what I was saying a little bit before. I'm not saying MMOs are dead. I'm not saying that at least. But I personally think that we are on a MMO stability or excitement decline. And I think that's because we're not seeing we're seeing the same worlds, the same styles, the same quests, the same things. It doesn't matter what MMO you jump into nowadays anymore. You jump in, you start playing, you're like, oh my god, I'm doing this all over again. It feels the same. It's not this new and exciting, uncharted territory that we once knew, and now people are splitting off and finding the games that fit the styles that they want to play.
Sure. Well, And Eve is very different from everything else. I mean, you know, it's one of those games. I played it for a couple of weeks, and I'm sorry, but I don't get it. I don't get the appeal. It doesn't appeal to me. But I mean, there's definitely a very strong portion of the game players out there that really like this game, and I think part of it is that it is, you know, the spreadsheet MMO. You know, that's always kind of the thing is, oh, it's a spreadsheet. Oh yeah, that's great. But I don't get it. But I know that there are a lot of people out there that do. And maybe I think maybe that's the unique portion of it that is really grabbing people. I don't know.
Here's the problem with this question. Not to say anything necessarily against you, Tom. Eve is not a game type. Eve is not Eve does not equal MMO. Eve does not equal ARPG. Eve is a game. So obviously we're going to see a continued rise of Eve because, as I said, that's a specific type of game that people are splitting off and finding, you know what, oh my gosh, Eve is supplying me with everything that I want to play. I'm going to pick up and start playing Eve. Whereas the decline of MMOs is a little bit more broad when you look at what these games are kind of offering. And I guess, yes, you're probably more talking about, you know, the rise of Eve's gameplay versus the decline of MMO's gameplay. But I think, like I said, that's because we're just tired. We'll still play games at max level, but we're tired of seeing the same stuff over and over and over.
Well, and maybe it's that, you know, there are so many games that can be claimed as MMO games that, I mean, the density just isn't there anymore. I mean, it's so spread out and kind of all over the map when it comes to how many games can actually be an MMO that there aren't any standouts really anymore. I mean, WoW is still out there because of how many players it has, and then there's other ones, you know, maybe Rift and Star Wars stand out a little bit, but you know, I don't know, there's just so many games out there that could be claimed as an MMO that maybe that's part of the problem.
All right, let's move on to the next caller, but before we do that, let's take a quick moment to thank one of our other amazing sponsors, Shutterstock. Guys, if you are at all a graphic designer, building a website, if you exist in today's media, which I'm sure you do, you're creating your own YouTube content, you need access to assets, to images. And, you know, you can't necessarily be an editor and a Photoshop expert and create all your own graphics from scratch. So what do? You turn to a service that's amazing like Shutterstock. Shutterstock is an awesome all-in-one service that gives you access to photos, illustrations, vectors, videos, even for stock video that gives you access. You know, you're building a website. You need a fancy banner to you know, put some awesome achievement on. It's got a whole bunch of awesome different styles of banners that you can look at. You know, as something as simple, you could say, hey, you know what, I need an icon. And this is an example Gary uses a lot for free to play. We use a lot of these icons, if I could find the exact pack, but on freetoplay.tv for all of the custom images. So it's amazing. It's a service you guys absolutely need to check out. And if you guys head on over, be sure to use the offer code Gamebreaker6 and you'll actually get 30% off your new order just like that. I cannot stress it enough. Pat, I'm sure you know from working in the media field how important images are. And it's just such a great service to not have to build these from scratch. It is not simple.
Absolutely, and I'm no artist, so I need to rely on.
And who has the money? Who has the money to go pay a freelancer to build all this stuff from scratch?
Right.
You could buy a pack right here for. Well, I'm logged in, so I can't see the exact price because I can just download it. So that's why you guys should sign up, because you can just download these things. You don't even got to worry about price.
And 30% off. That's awesome.
That's a great deal. It's a great deal, guys. And as I said before, they're an amazing sponsor that we're happy to have on. And please go support them. You help support us, so it's a win-win for everyone. All right, let's open up the lines and take the next caller. Caller, you're on line with Gamebreaker After Dark. Tell us your name. Tell us where you're from. Tell us your question.
Hey guys, I'm Eduardo from Mexico.
Pat, run. Just take your headset off.
right, I'm outta
Run. You don't know what you're in for.
All right. Oh boy.
Hello, Pat. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Eduardo. What's up?
Not much. Well, I got from the rain, and I was about to take a shower, but Shafnet decided to play God and just do After Dark whenever he wants. So, well,
Gary leaves town, and I suddenly have the power for all the shows.
Right.
Work around my schedule. All right.
Wow, that was kind of a garage moment, I think.
Yeah. I will take charge of Gamebreaker. How's it going, Eduardo?
Fine. I have a question for you guys.
Yes.
Well, I read an article about some researchers in the University of North Carolina, and well, they used the Kinect to override a cockroach brain and control its movements. And well, they have some very noble intentions with it. They want to use the cockroaches as camera to scan disaster areas like where earthquakes happen and stuff to find wounded people.
Yeah, no, noble. I'm sure the only reason they're building that is noble intentions, not awful spy on your own country kind of situation. I don't know if you even said that was America that was building that thing or not, but let's not pretend like America's the most trustworthy nation right now at the moment with their whole. Gosh,
I've always said the Kinect was evil. That's all I'm saying. No,
that's another thing.
It can override your brain. Look out.
So
Everybody
Eduardo,
run for the hills.
Eduardo, they're building this cockroach that you're saying that potentially has cameras for disaster areas. Continue. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Do you see the potential? It's not that they have the camera installed. They could control the movement of the cockroach. I mean, this is the future of gaming. Don't you see? I think
with live cockroaches. I don't know.
Hey guys, this just in. I found an exclusive image of the cockroach that they're building via Shutterstock.com.
Oh, look at that! That's very nice.
It's crazy.
They also had
crazy.
They also had a version of it in Fifth Element. So remember that one where they had the bug. Go ahead.
Well, I want to order a Kinect dev kit and start testing it on humans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how hard can it be? You just plug a few electrodes on the motor cortex of a person.
They don't need to. They don't need to because, and again, I'm not going to go too far down this road because it's crazy and it'll spark a whole other argument.
Right.
Every human carries one of these. And guess what? We found out America can listen. Hey, guess what? Government's listening to me right now. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. They could hear every word I'm saying because I'm holding my speaker of my phone right up to my face. That's how ridiculous it is.
Right.
Sorry.
I don't know. That I should have run for it while I had a chance. That's all I'm saying. I should have just bailed. Should have just right out of here.
Yep.
Just done the old sidestep.
Eduardo, what do you think here? Obviously, you got an opinion on the question here. What kind of trouble could we get into with this situation?
Oh man.
Well, of
there's
course
a high potential.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a high potential for evil and for governments finding out things that other governments do. But I was more amazed by how they control the cockroach.
Right. I think that there was actually and this could be myth. I saw it on the internet, so it must be true. They might have even engineered a spy fly, something as small as a fly that was able to carry cameras on it as well. Now again, I don't know if this is something that I just saw in anime or a movie or just saw a picture of. This could totally not exist. But
that's taking the phrase "fly on the wall" a little bit too literally, I think. So
been
I don't
around.
know.
That idea's been around since like the Cold War. I guarantee you, someone has
Right.
invented that technology at this point.
Well,
It's dangerous.
there is a company called Vessel that specializes in robotics and automatization, and they made a dragonfly, well, a robotic dragonfly, and well, that's a very interesting feat of engineering because they invented something that can fly freely like a hummingbird or a dragonfly, and that is very hard to do. Well, I can see that. Well, I think I just realized why do we spend so much money trying to emulate nature and creating very complex mechanisms when you can just plug things into the animal's brain and use it.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why
Why
not?
not? Why not? I'm sure PETA has no problem with
No,
that
but
whatsoever.
I can't wait for the MMO. Like be whatever you want. I mean, if you want to be an engineer, you can choose from a person who is an engineer, and you can like.
Well,
let
now
it
you're getting into the whole like
live.
surrogate technology, and it's gonna just get ridiculous.
Yeah.
There are some people
Right.
out here that'll say we're surrogates right now. This isn't real life. This is the Matrix.
Is this
We're
real
just
life?
plugged in. We're just plugged into to other things. I don't know. It's interesting. It's definitely interesting. Not sure how that relates to video games there, Eduardo, but it is really interesting.
Do you remember the movie Gamer?
No.
Do live gaming.
Yes.
Do live gaming with cockroaches. You can have cockroach
But
races with
that's
the
what
Kinect.
That's how I think it relates. I mean, you can actually play a soldier, or you can.
That's gonna get so dangerous.
Yeah.
That's gonna
a
get
lawyer, and
so
maybe-
dangerous.
That's-
No,
That's-
it's gonna be fun. You can.
No,
you can choose a lawyer.
Yeah, it'll be great. You know what? I want to log in and play our troops over. Well, they're not in Afghanistan anymore, but I want to play with someone's real life. That's gonna make me change my mentality and not charge in.
Losing your mind, going Grand Theft Auto with like, I don't know, with like a Catholic priest.
No, I don't want to imagine that. That sounds like a horrible, horrible thing. All right, Eduardo. Unfortunately, I think we got to move on.
I'll just do this.
Okay.
I'll just do this for a while. What do you say? Just that's it.
Thank you so much for calling in. We got to get a couple questions on here, and then got to switch over to Guildcast. So thank you so much for calling in, and we'll talk to you next time.
Okay, guys. See you.
See ya.
Bye.
All right, real quick while we get one of these last callers on the line here. Oh goodness, this could spiral. Let's keep this one quick. I know this could spiral into a crazy conversation,
Okay.
Pat. But let's
right.
just keep this one brief. Flex
Okay.
raids will require group
Oh.
building again, which is a good thing. IMO. Think LFM, the LFM tool, or looking for group chat will make a comeback.
You know, I always hope that something like that will happen, where this will kind of spur the community back into some sort of. I mean, I think LFR really took the community and kind of made it more individual. As far as gameplay goes, LFR is a very individual thing. So I think with the flex raids, we're going to see a lot more communities kind of come back to WoW. That's my hope anyway. And so LFG chat, I don't know if we'll see a return for LFG chat. I know on some servers it's stronger than others, but you know, telling somebody not to put in /2 is just kind of, I don't know. I think that's asking for a lot.
I think, well, and I think that I forget who specifically was responding. I was reading some of the blue posts today, and they said, we would love to bring that back if a global chat wouldn't end up in Chuck Norris jokes and anal spells. Was it Ghostcrawler? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. It'll devolve. Yep. If you think it won't devolve, you're dead wrong, because it will.
It always does. I mean, if you stay in trade chat long enough, somebody will link something and then put something weird after it. That's just the way that it goes.
All right, last caller for the night. Caller on the line with Gamebreaker After Dark. Tell us your name. Tell us where you're from. Tell us your question.
Hello, my name is Paul. I'm from Germany. So
hello.
Bear with my English here. Yeah. It's pitch black outside, so it's after dark.
See, it's always after dark somewhere.
It works. It works. All right.
Anyway, continue.
Okay. So my question is, what is your assessment regarding the upcoming relaunch of Final Fantasy XIV?
Pat.
That's going to be all you, buddy. That's going to be all you. Fantasy 14 is all you.
Gosh. All right. So the relaunch, obviously, it's a completely different game. By all means, it is not what it was in its current incarnation. Here's the things that I definitely think they're doing right. They are attaching staples of what Final Fantasy players love to the MMO. You know, you're getting limit breaks. You're getting interesting summon fights. Like at E3, Gary and I got a chance to take down Ifrit, which is a iconic summon from the Final Fantasy world. So integrating that. The other thing that really interests me based on the presentation, and I say this skeptically because presentations are not actually getting into play it myself, but what was really exciting was that they had kind of talked about how they wanted to really bring that story experience to the MMO and really kind of make you feel like your character was this not pivotal role, but like it was this evolving experience for your character, like players have come to know and expect from Final Fantasy the game, and give that to the player in the MMO. Those are all wonderful ideas that should have been included with Final Fantasy from the very start. If you're gonna take the name of the brand, you might as well take what the people loved about it. Limit breaks. I can do the Omni Slash. Sign me up. Here's my thing though with it. And I know this is not going to affect the overall reception of Final Fantasy 14 at all, but playing it on PlayStation was probably the worst experience of my entire life. Absolutely hated it. The specific battle that we got to play at E3, I spent so much time trying to target my enemy that I ended up, I think for like 3 minutes or so, I was probably trying to get the right target acquired and then go up and cast on it. The experience on the PlayStation needs to be looked at and refined, if not only for the targeting system, because it's not as simple as, hey, I'm going to mouse over you and I'm going to right click. You only have a D-pad, and the D-pad isn't a cursor. So I've got to sit here and I've got to thumb through each and every single one of my enemies. And then I'm like, oh, wait, no, but I need the boss. So then you get frustrated, and then you start going really fast. And then you stop thinking, and then you pass the boss, and you're like, wait, no, go back. Oh, now I can't. Like, it was awful. Playing that on the PlayStation controller needs to be improved, especially if they're trying to open up the market for that game by giving it accessible to where Final Fantasy players mostly stay, which is the console. That was not a friendly experience at all for me, at least. Now, it's tough to say. I haven't been participating in the game since its relaunch, and I think it's tough for me to give my impression based on my E3 experience because A, I played it on PlayStation, which I would never play it on. B, I didn't know any of the abilities. It's really hard for me to jump into a whatever level character I was. Not only on the PlayStation could I not hover over my abilities and figure out what they did and how long their cooldowns were and what the smart abilities to use when were, but I didn't know what I was doing. I was a mage, so I was literally like, okay, Ifrit, he must be fire. I'm going to just use all my ice spells. That must work. So it's tough. It's really tough for me to say where it's going based on my E3 experience alone. Now, what about you? Have you had any opportunity to jump in and see what the changes are bringing that you're excited for?
Yes, I'm actually playing in Beta Phase 3 at the moment, well, it's a very conservative approach. So, yes,
okay.
So if you played WoW, you essentially know how this game plays. I was more thinking about general stuff. So I had will they be able to overcome their reputation? because of 1.0, because it was terrible, terrible. And also, as you talked earlier about Eve, I think this ties in wonderfully. It is a conservative approach, and we all are arguing at the moment, is the market on the decline for more conservative MMOs? Can you really get a hold with this kind of game at the moment? And the last thing is, I don't know what PR is doing, but aside from MMO sites like Gamebreaker, you don't really see much of it.
I think part of the reason you don't see a lot of it is there is a big distaste in the mouth of the people that went in and tried it, and there are a lot of people shouting from the rooftops that this game is nothing like it used to be. It's changed. It's been made for the better. There's a lot of really good features that are being added to it, but I think just like Rift had a little bit of struggle to bring back players when they made their Storm Legion expansion, and eventually Rift decided to go free to play. I think Final Fantasy is going to have a hard time bringing those players back because, Pat, I think you can agree. It's once you have an impression of something, it's really tough to change it. Even if only for a moment to log back in and try it. If you tried it and didn't like it, you're almost done indefinitely.
Or if you liked something and then something went wrong, it's kind of one of those things. If something goes wrong when you're already like, oh yeah, I'm getting to really like this game. I'm getting to really like this game. Oh no. What are you doing? So then you just end up going away and you go, you know what? That one thing was wrong. I am never playing that game again, because it can be that quick of a decision for a lot of people to just say, nope, you know what? There are other games out there that I would much rather want to play because they at least give me what I want.
But that's sad. I mean, it's kind of sad to see, and you, apologies. I actually call her. I forgot your name. What's your name? Kyle. It's sad to see. What was that?
Was it Carl?
Yeah, it's
Carl.
The German version of Carl.
Gotcha. It's really sad to kind of see that happen, because even though you said that they were being very conservative and they're making it much like every MMO that we've seen prior to try and get players back in and playing it, I don't think everybody's mind's made up. I think that they can bring some people back, but I think their initial pull to grab on that Final Fantasy brand, their target number needs to be a lot lower than what it once was.
That makes sense.
I agree.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Carl, for your call. We really appreciate it. And that's like 2 or 3 calls from Europe this time around. Maybe it's because we didn't do it so late this week. We actually had European callers.
I don't know. The moon's still up. The moon's up, so it must be late.
Yeah, it's got this picture of Shanghai or something behind me. Carl, thank you so much for your call. Pat Crane joining me just for a wonderful, wonderful time over here on After Dark. You can follow him down there at Pat Crane. Be sure to catch him on Convert to Raid. Legendary, which is going to air tomorrow. He'll be down here in California with me.
I'll be there. That's
in the
fantastic.
studio. You know what, Pat?
Cheesecake.
I decided also, because we have this awesome super invitation to go to Blizzard on Friday. We're gonna make like a best buddies video. I'm gonna like grab the camera.
Awesome.
We're gonna like talk about how awesome it is on the car ride down. It's gonna be fun, and you're gonna be my best friend the whole entire time. And Missy, we've got Missy who's coming from Gamebreaker. You actually have I think another person from your site
Coltrane
as
is
well.
gonna be coming down. Yep, Coltrane's gonna be coming down as well. So it's gonna be a really fun time.
We've got friends from Wowhead coming down, Perculia, if you guys are familiar with over at Wowhead, as well as Dolby, who's part of their development team. The Curse people are coming down. It's going to be really, really fun, really exciting, and I can't wait to put up that video for you guys. So be sure to check out that right here. You can follow me right here at Mike Schaffnitz. I do After Dark every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. PDT, as well as I show up on Legendary and a bunch of other content that you guys will probably be seeing here soon on Gamebreaker. A lot more fun, exciting things to come, so keep your eyes peeled. See you next week. I'm John Oliver.